Hey, welcome to the Inside Scoop. Today, I'm Rose Slam Johnson, and today I'm here with my friend Bree White from Bostra Moda. Bostra
Moda.
Moda,
Yep.
a professional stylist. If you didn't put on your fancy shirt for this YouTube, pause right now, go get your fancy shirt, join us in having a fashionable expression day today. Bree, thank you so much for taking time to chat with me and to share your story about how your small business has come to be so that the small business owners or the small business dreamers out there can get a sense of the journey.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being here and the opportunity to have some fashionable fun and expression today.
Yeah, and I'll just flag that Bree and I have a big plan to do in 1 year from now. Well, Pride 2023. My goal is to have an epic clothing fashion swap show performance, tailor everything. So I'm saying it first time publicly right now. Bree is the one of the instigators of this. So may you see us soon. All right, so tell us, Bree, give us like the snapshot of like your age, your role. Well, actually, sorry, before you do that, just give me a snapshot of what your business does.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so as a personal fashion stylist, I feel like a lot of people, the first conclusion they jump to is, so you work with celebrities, which there are plenty of people who do. And I'll be honest, I won't say no if my favorite celebrities from D&D's Critical Role on Twitch would love to have me help style them for any of their fantasy themed things. So down for that. I am a huge nerd, so that would be ideal for me. But I work with the small business owner. I work with the everyday person. I have amazing clients who have come from all different walks of life and have had all different experiences. Some of them, it's been that they've been retiring and they are like, I don't need to have a 9-to-5 wardrobe anymore, but what do I wear for the activities I want to start doing? Or someone who's ready to level up their business and they're going, okay, so I started my business. It's actually taking like some speed now and I'm picking up pace and getting to know more people. But I really want to show up as like the CEO of this business and feel more professional and put together without losing the comfort of what I'm used to wearing. How do I do that? So I help people to really find their confidence while still remaining comfortable and not compromising their authenticity and who they are in the process of discovering, how do I take myself to the next level? How do I level up myself, my business, my lifestyle, whatever it is they're looking for? And I love working with entrepreneurs and individuals who are in the queer community to really feel seen, to feel heard, and to feel like they can express themselves in the best way that they possibly can, while again, just remaining comfortable and confident in who they are in that process.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. On behalf of me and the queer community, thank you for helping us express ourselves, express our like truest selves, right?
Yes, I mean, a big part of why I that is so important to me is because I am in the queer community myself, and having grown up and realized how much of my expression I did suppress for the longest time before I was comfortable telling people about who I was or really accepting who I was for myself. There was a lot of stuff that I never got to experience because of that. And I realized that expressing myself through my clothing was just one way of building those connections to other people, to really getting to know myself and what I enjoy in life and how I want to start growing and leveling myself up.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, give us the like demographic nitty gritty. Like if you want to share your age, your role, your business size, do you have any employees, how long you've been in business, that kind of.
Yeah. So I am turning 32 this month. It is July birthday month for me. So turning 32, I have always had an interest in styling. I spent about 10 years modeling actually for local studio lighting classes. And that's how I got really into working with clothing, thinking about how clothing represents us, how we represent ourselves with clothing, and how it can change your mood, how you can really bring out that confidence, or you can be terrified depending on what you're putting on and how you're showing up for it. So it was through that I learned how important I found clothing and how being intentional with what you are wearing and how you show up for yourself each day can be really impactful in how you show up for the rest of your life and starting to take actions on some of your goals even. So it's something I'd been thinking about since I started modeling and experiencing that, but it wasn't until the pandemic that I really thought to myself, could this be an actual thing that I do? I think for a lot of people, it was a moment to take a step back in our lives and really reflect on what was most important to us. And for me, while I loved the 9-to-5 that I was working, I loved the people. it wasn't the type of work that I wanted to be doing for the rest of my life. It wasn't my career trajectory. I kind of fell into working in that company, and I happened to be there for 8 years. And all of a sudden I was going, how have I been here for almost a decade? I literally don't understand how that happened, because it was a temp job for 2 weeks. And all of a sudden the person I was filling in for never came back, and they offered me the position, and I just kept moving throughout the company. And I loved their mission. It was a program for children and adults with autism. And there were some great staff, great clients, but I was doing a lot of the admin work and sitting in my office working on spreadsheets. And I just wanted to connect with people. And I really wanted to see how could I be of most service to the people around me and show them that someone was listening and that I cared. And also an opportunity to be creative, because creativity has always been a big part of my life. And I wanted to do that every day of my life and not just wait for, oh, okay, I have a free 5 minutes to work on my hobby now. Like, I wanted to be integrated into my daily routine. So during the pandemic, when I had a chance to really reflect on what was important to me, I went on a walk with my wife one day, and I was saying, I'm really stressed out about my job, and I just wish that I could bring more fun into my day and be more creative. And she said, well, if you could do anything in the world, no boundaries, no financial boundaries, no questions of why would you want to do that, just what would you do? And I was like, honestly, I wish I could really dress up with people, like just play dress up with people every day and show them like how fun clothing can be, and really let them experience the opportunity of becoming this person that maybe they always dreamed they could be, but didn't think that they could, and show them the tools to do that. And she went, cool. Is that a thing? Is that a job? Like, could that be actually a thing though? And I said, that's a great question. I should find out. And that's when I started doing some research to see, is this a profession? And if it is, how do I get into it? And then I realized I could make it my own if I wanted to. How do I make this my own? So I started researching business coaches so I could get started with some tools and have someone who had a process of, well, here's where you start when you're at level 0. Because I knew nothing. I was like, I know nothing about starting my own business. I know some business owners. I chatted with some people, but really having someone look at my idea and going, but how do you take this idea and how do you help that to grow? So I hired my first business coach a couple of months into thinking about this idea. And we worked together for 3 to 4 months. And she helped build a roadmap with me of, here's trajectory, here's some of your goals. And the biggest thing that I learned from that was most surprising to me, honestly, was the first thing that she had me look over was my mindset. And I was like, okay, but we're talking about building a business. What do you mean mindset? And she was like, yeah, because self-development is going to be really the tool for all of this. And my current mentor in a different coaching program that I'm in now, she likes to say that building your own business is self-development on crack. Like, you just learn so much about yourself when you start a business. And 100% true. Like, I've always been a pretty self-aware person. And I like to go internally and think about, what do I want to grow in? How can I become a better person? What things can I shift? But I mean, it is 10x when you are starting your own business and you're putting your all into that. So working with her really showed me how important it is to be in the right mindset, and how important it is to take care of yourself when you are starting a business. Because if you want to take care of other people, how are you supposed to pour from an empty cup? And it's just the oxygen mask theory of, you have to put your mask on first before you can help anyone else. Otherwise, what good are you if you've already passed out, and I have to remind myself of that constantly, even now, because I've always been the type who just wants to give and wants to put myself out there and share with other people and see how I can support them. But by the end of the day, if I'm so exhausted that I can't even take the time to, take a 20-minute bath and just relax, then resentment starts to build in your life, or you start to regret your choices, or you feel like there is no time for you. So how are you supposed to do anything for anybody else? So really taking that time for yourself is so important, especially when you are first starting out in a business, and making sure that you're taking care of your own needs while you're also building this business simultaneously. And it's a challenge for sure. Finding that balance it's ongoing. But I think that was one of the most important things that was the light bulb for me when I started my business.
So sweet. So true. You're touching on so many of the topics I like to discuss in this. So thank you for paving the path for what is to be here, and for sharing just like your wisdom and experience with us. And I think it's so true that piece of rest and self-care is such a fundamental part that is so easily overlooked. It's like we leave our job because we're overworked to come overwork at our business. And it's like, wait a second, this is because, and it's easier to overwork so much more. It's like, oh, and you went from like a 60-hour to 100-hour, but you're
Yes.
passionate. So it's like that 40 hours doesn't feel like it, but it's, yeah, important to rest. So thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah.
And it's also important to enjoy. So tell me, like, what is one of your favorite aspects of running your business?
It's a great question. I think one of the things that I really love about running my business and working with my specific clients is watching those aha moments
Mm.
of realizing that your clothing doesn't define you. It allows you to express yourself. And there's a very big difference of what we put on ourselves from what we've taken culturally and societally, and how just I'm supposed to represent myself in this way because I identify in this way. And knowing that clothing is just a tool to be able to find yourself and do those things. And honestly, I don't know, I might be blowing some people's minds here, but there is no hard and fast rule when it comes to fashion and style, because specifically style is yours. You get to create that. Fashion may be trends, and it may be specific things that you see in media or in TV or in culture over the decades. But style is just innately how you want to express yourself and what connects with you and what makes you feel like this is who I am. This is how I want to share myself with those around me. This is me from the inside being able to be visually expressed on the outside. And I feel like when I watch a client go through that realization of, I get to decide who I want to be and how I want to show up today, it's really affirming to see that those connections are being made and they get to feel like themselves, especially for people who maybe have changed over the last decade, but still have items from all those years ago. And they're in a different place in their life now. And letting go of some of those things, as hard as it can be to let go of, because we definitely will integrate our memories and our nostalgia into our clothing, and we make a lot of associations with them. Letting go of that is like letting go of a piece of the past, but it can be really conclusive. It allows you to go through those memories, appreciate those moments, and let them go in a way that is your choice. And I feel like it allows for more growth and opportunity to see how much further you can expand in your life.
Oh, I'm so appreciating the way you shared that. And I saw something for the first time. Well, I work with folks around money, and we talk about how there's 6 forms of energy, right? There's money, there's time, there's joy, vitality, creativity, and relationship. But there's this, I guess this is where it talks about creativity, but like expression and identity is such an important piece of that the way you were speaking really identified to me how much of I don't know, an asset that is to our life, how much of a gift that is to our existence. So
yeah, absolutely. And big on all of those things, actually. I mean, when it comes to clothing and styling, there's always going to be an aspect of all 6 of those things in it, right? Because I like to tell people that clothing is about making connections, and they're like, I don't understand, how is your clothing making connections to people? And I say, well, okay, so my favorite show, Critical Role, they have a merch shop, and I love all their stuff, and I've got a couple of their t-shirts. If I'm out in the wild and I'm wearing one of their t-shirts and somebody else who also loves this fandom notices it, it's going to spark a conversation with somebody who has a mutual interest. I'm building a connection without even saying a word. Same thing with relationships, how you are relating to yourself and other people, how you are expressing yourself, and how that comes out through your clothing. Money obviously is a big part because it's the finances that you're putting into it and the investment you're making in that sense. But another big one that I think people don't think about is time. How much time do we agonize over things? How much time, I mean, and I say this from personal experience, because before I got into doing styling professionally, I would sit in front of my closet, and I would literally sit in front of my closet looking at it, just crying, trying to get ready in the morning when I was most stressed at my job. Because when there's overwhelm going on in your life, it's going to come out in other places. So like for a lot of people, when they're feeling stressed at work, you'll find yourself with a lot of clutter at home. because it's like there's clutter going on in your mind you can't sort through. And so it's just starting to come out in different places until you can find where it's stemming from and start focusing on fixing that or like working through that. And then you'll notice reprieve in other areas. So for me, when I was most stressed, it was like, what do I have control over? I could control how I showed up and what I wore every day. But when I was most overwhelmed is when I was buying a lot of clothing because I was trying to fix the problem by filling it with shopping and things like that. So I'd get ready in the morning, but I would stand there and be like, I have too many options. I don't know what to wear because I don't know how I feel. And I don't know who I am right now because I'm not identifying in this role in my job. And I want to grow, but I don't know if this is the right path for me. And so for me, it came out through, well, how do I express myself through my clothing? Something that used to be so simple when I can't connect to who that person is supposed to be and how I want to show up.
Wow.
So really, it was like, it wasn't until I started addressing some of that stuff in my personal life that I noticed that habit that I had built of relying on my clothes in a negative way. And how could I start building a positive association with my clothing and have like a loving relationship where it was supporting me instead of relying on it and like expecting so much from my closet. And instead it was overwhelming me. So I think a big aspect of it is time. Like, how much time are you investing into getting ready? How much time do you spend worrying about these things? Where can you release some of that control and be better about being more intentional with your time so that, you know, instead of spending an hour every morning agonizing over what you're going to wear and how you're going to get dressed and all these things, like what if you just spend time at the beginning of the week going, I'm going to check out what this week looks like. What do I have for meetings? What does the weather look like? How do I want to show up? And what's actually clean from the laundry? And then putting the stuff together at the beginning of the week and just pulling it out and putting it in the closet where it's easy to grab and go. And then trusting yourself and not changing your mind at the last minute day of, because that was something else I was big on, was I didn't feel fully confident in my choices. And so I would change my mind at the last minute. And then I'd go through 3 other outfits just to put on the first one that I tried in the first place. So there is so much integrated in clothing with how we feel and our mindset. And again, a lot of people don't even think about that as being a factor of clothing, but it's because it's that expression part. It's because it's that how we're building those relationships with ourselves, with others, and how we want others to really see us.
Yeah. That's so big. You speak to so much reality. And yeah, I'm also struck by, I think of a CPA as somebody that whatever you pay them, they make you back because of they have better skills than I do. And it's like, oh, I can actually see if you were to support me in getting dressed, I would save so much time, right? And have so much more joy. So that's so spot on.
Yeah.
And I imagine going from talking to your partner, which by the way, maybe all have such loving and supportive partners that can open us up and help us get to our deepest truths. But going from like, hey, let's play dress up to where you are today, which is having programs and ways for people to get involved with what you're doing. And, at this point in your business, like what have been some of your biggest challenges or frustrations in the past?
I'll definitely say for me personally, I used to struggle a lot with asking for help. And when you're starting out doing something that you have no clue what you're doing, I think setting that aside and knowing that you didn't fail. You didn't fail by asking someone for help. You actually have succeeded in so many more ways because, like you said, you're bringing in expertise. You're bringing in someone who's further along in their path than you are, who can see things from an outside point of view when maybe you're stuck at a wall. And having that different perspective can really be just not just supportive, but so much shift can happen in your business because you're releasing some of that control. Because like, how are you supposed to receive anything if you constantly have your hands like this? Like you have to be able to let go in order to have your hands open to receive versus holding on so tightly to no, but this is mine and I have to control every aspect of it. And that's something big for me is I like to be in control of everything. Some perfectionist tendencies there that I've definitely had to work through and came to light as I was building my business, but it's not helping anybody. And it's certainly not helping me. It's hurting me, in fact, to try to control absolutely everything. And once I started asking other people for help or asking their advice, it just felt like such a big sigh of relief. And especially with the mentor that I'm currently working with, I shifted to working with her because she specializes in working with personal stylists who want to build their business. And she is a stylist herself and has been for over a decade. So she has this specific experience. And my first coach was amazing because she definitely helped me to start thinking in the mindset of a CEO, of somebody building their own business. But she didn't have the specifics of what's it like to be a stylist working with a client with this specific issue. Or if you go shopping with them and they don't end up finding anything they're looking for, how can you be supportive of somebody in that moment if the store just doesn't have the items in their size or the specific type of things they're looking for? How can you really continue supporting that person? So I think letting go of that control is just huge, and learning that there are other people who know more than you do, and that's amazing. And you should always surround yourself with those people, because you don't want to be the smartest person in the room, because that's not challenging. You don't grow from it, and you don't learn anything about yourself.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that too is learning to ask for help and receive help from my wife, from my partner, because she has been huge in my starting this business venture, continuing it as well. Because starting out, I mean, I prepped for about 6 months while I was still working in my 9 to 5 before I decided, okay, I need to really focus on doing this full time, because I can't keep doing these nights when I get home and weekends to work on my side business when I want it to become my full business. I need to be fully invested in it. So I had to ask for her support financially to do that, to be able to quit a consistent income to start a business when you don't have consistent clients yet. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
And I can't even express how grateful I am to have somebody who not just supported me and said, I believe that you can do this and I will financially back you to do it, but she's my co-founder. She works on my website. She is the person that I go to whenever I have a new idea. And even as somebody who, she's not big into fashion or style, she'll be the first one to admit that the reason why I'm a good stylist is for the last 15 years of our being together, I've styled her. I've bought all of her clothes. I put her outfits together so she didn't have to think about it, because she doesn't like the aspect of clothing and what that means for your identity. She's had a hard time with her own personal life. So she knows firsthand what it's like to have somebody who can come in and take some of that off of her plate. And because of that, and our conversations about wanting to build not just a client and business owner relationship, I want to build a community where people feel safe, where people feel like they're seen for who they are. And as they're in their journey, whatever stage it is, they're accepted. And they're not going to be questioned if they go, I've worn women's clothing all of my life, but I feel like I'd feel more comfortable if I wore men's clothing. And I want to try that, but I've never done it before. And I don't know what people are going to think of me. And knowing that I will never judge you for that, I will never question it. I'll say, awesome. Where do you want to start? What type are you interested in? Is there a specific design that you've always wanted to try? Let's look, let's do it together. You're not in this alone. You have somebody on your side. And building a community where you just feel accepted for who you are at whatever stage you're at is so important. And again, it goes back to having grown up and experienced myself, what it's like when you feel like you're on an island and you're just looking for that connection to other people, and you're looking for that safe place where you can be yourself as you're finding yourself. So getting emotional. Woo. But it's important. It's so important to me, and it's so important to my wife too. And that has been the biggest part of everything we're doing, with all of the challenges that we have faced with starting a business, with putting yourself out there, especially for me, because I grew up very introverted and very sheltered too. So putting yourself out there and sharing like this type of vulnerability with other people was terrifying for me. And like even doing lives and stuff on Instagram or Facebook and talking out loud, when I spent so many years after being homeschooled being like, I'm really socially awkward and I apologize if I talk too much. But finding yourself in that process and learning that it's okay and the right people are going to connect with you, and you just have to keep trying. And it takes practice. You're not going to know until you do it though. And so having that support from my wife, and having a business partner who is just as invested as I am and wants to see us grow and wants to see us build a place for other people, that is more than I could ever ask for. And it's developed in ways that I didn't even imagine when I first started this business. And it's only been just over a year that we've had this business going now, but just the growth for both of us as people has been exponential. And I feel like because of that, we are able to connect with and serve the clients who come to us even better than before.
Beautiful. What's next for you? What's your next level of growth? What's your next project you're going to launch?
I mean, I know you mentioned it before, but I would love to do more events with people and really continue collaborating, because it's something I've always loved doing. When I did modeling and I was on set for photo shoots, I loved seeing everybody come together, photographers, the makeup artists, designers, and just seeing how everybody worked together as a team and brought their own visions to create this combined vision together. And I think the same thing can be done even just in your personal life, because if you have a branding shoot, if you need a headshot for something, just going and getting your picture done is a great step. But having a person who's going to be like, here's what I recommend that you wear, here's what you're going to feel really comfortable in, but also look how you want to look. And it's not going to feel like, who is this person that I don't recognize because they're in a 3-piece suit and I like wearing graphic tees. And finding the right balance of, yeah, let's take you to the next level, but still feel like you. So that when someone sees your picture and then they start talking to you, they know you're the same person and not like, wait a second, you look totally different in your picture than when we're actually meeting in real life. And now I don't know what to think. Like, you want to feel like yourself, just like, let's take me to the next level. So I love collaborating with photographers and working on events, showing people how they can really feel their best in their clothing. That's something that I want to continue doing and collaborating with people on. So more collaborations. We are currently working on doing like an affiliate program within our business of having other people that we trust and who support the queer community, that anybody who comes to us can go to and be like, oh, you have somebody who's going to also love and accept me for who I am and support me in this specific way that I need. Amazing. So that's something that we have been working on and will continue working on for probably a couple more months as we're going through and building it out and seeing what it's going to look like. But that's something that we're really excited about, because again, the community aspect is something that we really find important for any business, is to just feel like you are accepted and acknowledged and that you're seen for who you are.
So beautiful. I love it. How can folks that are listening today find you or work with you? What are the options?
So great places that you can find me. I post on Instagram really consistently, so you can find me over there. My handle is at vostra_moda. And you can find me at my website, vostramoda.com, if you want to see what services I offer. And I actually have a special promo for July because it's birthday month. I have a special occasion package, which is for things like photo shoots. If someone has a vacation they're going on, or if they have like a wedding that they're attending and they need a couple different outfits for it, or for any special occasions that they may have over the summer that they just want to feel like they've got options. I have a promo for that specific package. So it's on the front of my website. You can see what the promo is if you head to vostramoda.com. Or if you have any questions, you can always shoot me an email at hello.bri, B-R-I, at vostramoda.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me, Bri, and to share your story. And I hope for those, if you're out there listening and you got something from this or you have more questions, post it in the chat so we can see what's going on. We'll stay interactive there, and just want to, I hope that those of you out there listening that are rocking your small business or struggling with your small business can see that there is a path through. And if you want a new outfit, you know who to call.
There you go.
Thank you
so much for having me.